from last 1 year or more than 1 year, if I'm not wrong. So we'll not deep dive into what MCP is. So we'll touch base quickly upon what MCP server is and its key component. Okay. Then based on my understanding, I have just came up with the server lifecycle, MCP server lifecycle, the way we have for API lifecycle. Okay. And we'll touch base upon a Flex gateway because Flex gateway is one of the crucial part to secure our MCP server. And then we'll talk about one of the scenario appointment booking use case, how we are around the scenario only we have built our MCP server. And during a demo we'll see how we are going to integrate this particular MCP server with our dev agent within Anypoint Code Builder. Okay. In one of the session we have integrated this MCP server with Cloud 8 Desktop as well, but today we will talk about how we are going to integrate this with dev agent. Okay.
So Divergent is recently rebranded as MuleSoft Vibes. Okay, just so everyone knows.
Yeah. Thanks,
Yeah.
Ignas. Okay. So now, what is this MCP server, right? This is a model context protocol. Okay. This is kind of a standard that acts as a universal bridge between enterprise system and AI application or large language model. Okay. So usually, like we have a HTTP protocol between our consumer and the APIs, the same way we will be having MCP protocol, which will help LLM or AI applications to connect to our services. And in simple term, if I have to put, and there are many components. There are many components around this MCP server. So key components I have tried to explain here with this diagram. So first of all, we'll be having the MCP host. Okay, so MCP host is kind of AI application that would coordinate and manage one or multiple MCP clients. Okay, so this whole block we can consider as a AI application. In today's case, it would be a dev agent or MuleSoft Vibe, as Vikas said. In one of the session, I have integrated that with Cloud AI. Now within this host we could create a multiple clients. So multiple clients, the clients are nothing but the configuration file within that MCP host, where we can define what all URL of that particular MCP server, how we can connect to that MCP server, what protocol it will be using, is the MCP server is protected by any authentication, that details also we could pass. Basically it's a configuration file where we will provide a connection details about our MCP server, and within one host we could have many MCP client configured. So when we see the dev agent within the MuleSoft within the Anypoint Code Builder, there will we can see how we can configure this MCP server within the MCP host, that is within dev agent. Then the transport. Okay, so here there are two types of transport. We'll be using stdio and the streamable. So stdio basically used where we have our MCP host, and at the same location we have deployed our MCP server as well. So in that particular scenario, we could connect to our MCP server and the host via stdio protocol. And if you want to connect to MCP server remotely, then we can use the streamable HTTP transport. Then MCP is a program that provides context to our MCP clients. So MCP server nothing but is an application or program where we will be writing all our logics. Within that MCP server, we will be having multiple tools. Okay, so tools are nothing but an executable function that AI application can invoke to perform action. If I have put this in a simple term, like within an API we have different resources and method, right? In MCP world, we can consider that as a tool. Like we have a get employee details. Similarly, we can have a tools like a book appointment, get appointment details, generate OTP, validate OTP. Okay, so these are the this is the tool is one of the primitives. Okay, that basically defines what client and server can offer each other. Basically, what MCP host and the server can offer each other here. Like tool, we have other two primitives as well, prompt and resources. Today we are mostly focusing on the tools part. Then once we understood the MCP and its key component, let's try to understand the MCP server lifecycle. Okay, so the way we design our RAML, the same way we could create a schema file for MCP. We cannot directly go in design center the way we create a RAML, right? We have to just the way we create a JSON schema in the same fashion we have to create a schema. So we'll have a look at the schema what I have created for appointment booking. Okay. Once the schema is created, we can publish that schema to any point exchange. So the same published asset we would need when we are going to secure our application through API Flex Gateway. Okay, and along with that, we can also document our MCP server asset. So whatever details we'll define within a schema, that would be visualized in our asset once we publish to the exchange. Then we will do a MCP server implementation. We'll see the code, but on high level, the way if I have to put in simple term, right? Whenever we create any application within MuleSoft, we will have the HTTP listener, again HTTP listener configuration, and then we'll be having HTTP listeners. Okay, so configuration is same across all our listener if we are not using API kit router. The same way we'll be having MCP configuration and then the MCP tool listener. Okay, so consider the tool listener as a HTTP listener in a simple term. Okay, once we have implemented the MCP server in the server in Cloud Hub 2.0, once it is deployed, we can deploy the asset in API manager instance and then apply the policies. We could do a test and validate, and we could monitor traffic with the anypoint monitoring. So this is the API life cycle, complete API life cycle for MCP server. If anyone has any question, do let me know.
So the MCP server deployment, is it like limited to Cloud Hub, or can be used anywhere like RTFs, and
No, 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 no.
it could be
Anywhere,
anything?
anywhere.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
no, no. From MuleSoft perspective is CS 2.0 as far as I know. Okay, but if it's a different technology stack, it's we if we have to deploy in Python, right? We can deploy in
Mhm.
anywhere where we want. But from MuleSoft perspective, as far as I know, CS2 is more compatible for the MCP server deployment because if you have
Yeah,
any
yeah,
updated
definitely. As per the
infrastructure,
documentation available, we can confirm that it's currently for CH 2.0.
CS2 only.
But I think, yep, I
Okay.
have not come across documentation which says on the RTA for the hybrid part. But yes, CH 2.0 definitely,
Yeah.
the documentation is available. Okay.
Got you. Got you. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you for confirming.
because we have raised one just to provide additional details around it. We have raised one ticket with Salesforce on
Mm-hmm.
a different issue. At that time, they have somehow conveyed this is only available on CS2, the deployment. Okay, I'll
Okay.
try to find out that reference and I'll do
Mm-hmm.
share with you. This is Neetu only, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you
I'll
again. Yeah.
try to share that ticket. Yeah, sure.
And Venkatesh, there is one question in the chat. What would be the asset type when publishing to any point
MCP,
exchange?
MCP. I'll
MCP.
show you when we are going to publish, right? So whatever we are seeing in this life cycle, right? We are going to demonstrate that how we are going to. When schema is already there, I can quickly walk through the schema and then we'll publish that asset. Okay. And there are two different menu items we will see in the Anypoint platform. That time we'll see the details, but it's a MCP server as asset
Thanks.
we have
So
created.
Prashant, any follow-up question on this? Asset type is MCP.
Yeah, that's all. Thanks,
Oh,
Vikas.
thank you, Prashant.
Vikash and Venkatesh, I have one query. Are all these features of whatever we are seeing for the life cycle, it's available on trial account, or do we need any
It's
special
available on trial
subscription?
account. It's
Okay,
I'm giving this demo on trial only, so it's available
okay,
on
okay,
trial account.
okay.
Yes,
That's
yes,
good to
yes.
know. Thank you.
But Flex Gateway,
Yeah,
Huh. So for
yeah, that
Flex
I'm aware.
Gateway, the Flex Gateway, there are two types, right? MuleSoft Manage and Self
Hmm.
Manage.
Yeah.
So Self Manage only with our own instance we can configure. For
Hmm.
MuleSoft Manage, you need a licensing or subscription from the MuleSoft. So that's
So
not available on that.
currently, I think it's working only for MuleSoft managed Flex Gateway, right, Venkatesh?
Self-managed Flex Gateway.
Self-managed, sorry,
Yeah.
self-managed. Yeah,
Yes. For
Yeah,
MuleSoft Manage, they have to get all the separate licensing from MuleSoft.
correct.
got it.
Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Sure.
Yep. Let's move forward.
Thank you. Now, this is what, on the high level, what MCP is, its key component and the life cycle. Again, we are going to use a Flex Gateway in today's session. That's why I'm going to quickly touch base upon Flex Gateway. I know this Flex Gateway is into, if I'm not wrong, from last 3 to 4 years, it's already there. So I know everyone is aware about it, but I'll just take 1 or 2 minutes. So as we know, this Flex Gateway is an envoy-based, ultra-fast, lightweight API gateway. Okay, so the key difference between typical proxy and Flex Gateway, because in the MuleSoft we do have an embedded gateway, then why we need a Flex Gateway, right? The one may say that to protect non-MuleSoft application, but still with typical proxy we can protect non-MuleSoft applications, right? Then why I should go with the Flex Gateway? The downfall of using the typical proxy is like for each backend service to protect, I need to have one worker running with minimum 1.1 week or configuration on the runtime manager. Like consider I have a 10 or n number of backend services, so that many workers I'll have to spin up on the runtime manager, right? On the other hand, if I use this Plex gateway in a single machine, it can run as a standalone service or a agent, okay? And I can use the same gateway to protect n number. It's not actually n numbers. There has to be a limitation based on the VM or the instance where we are installing the Flex gateway. But definitely we can protect multiple backend services with a single Flex gateway. Okay, so this is the key difference between typical proxy and Flex gateway. I hope this makes sense. And then we can use the API manager to protect our particular backend services. Okay, so there are two modes of Flex gateway: local mode and connected mode. In connected mode, we will be connecting to the what we say, anypoint platform, uh, runtime. So if you see, right, in the connected mode, we can manage our Flex gateway through anypoint platform. We can enforce our policies through API manager. We can monitor our applications through the endpoint monitoring. Okay, so this synchronization between the instance where we are installing the Flex gateway and endpoint platform would be available. But in the local mode, this particular connection won't be available. Okay, all the configuration, all the policy specific configuration would be maintained in one of the config.yaml file. Okay, I have wrote few blogs around this Flex gateway. If you are interested, you can quickly, means you can check in my blogs. If you want, I can share those links as well. It covers how to install a Flex gateway, what are the difference between local connected mode, how we can install Flex gateway in connected and local mode, how we can add multiple replicas, how the load balancing will be done. So everything is explained in separate blocks. You let me know if you want, I can share that links. Okay, but on the high level, these are the two mode, and we are going to use a connected mode for today's demo.
So local mode is typically used like where there are some data residency requirements, right? We don't want to data to flow to any point platform, right, Venkatesh? So that's where
Yeah,
we
that's
need.
one of that's one of the area where we need the local mode also if we want to do automate through CI/CD with the scripting
Mhm.
ways, right? So that also we can use the local mode. Yeah,
Sure.
Vikas.
Fine.
Yes. Then coming to our use case. Okay. So now I have a backend service. On top of that, I'll be having my MCP server. Within that MCP server, I'll be having a multiple tools. Okay. On top of that, I'll be having a player flex gateway where I'll be applying the policies to my MuleSoft application. For MuleSoft,
Your voice is breaking, Venkatesh, a bit. Maybe you can turn off your video and see if save some bandwidth.
is it same for everyone?
Yes.
I'll turn off. How is it now?
Yep, better.
Okay. So I was talking about this, right? We have a Flex gateway. On top of that, we'll be applying a policies, and then we'll be having our LLM application. So LLM application will be communicating to our MCP server via Flex gateway. Okay, and we'll be applying two policies: basic auth to protect our MCP server and MCP support. Okay, so now MCP support doesn't use the typical HTTPS protocol, right? It uses the MCP protocol, which requires a long living streaming, basically. Okay, so to enable that long living streaming mechanism, we need to apply this MCP support policy. If we don't apply this MCP support policy, we will get a connection timeout in some situations. Okay, so it is always recommended from a MuleSoft documentation to apply this MCP support. Also, we have raised a case with, if you remember, because for one of the RFP, we have raised a case where we wanted to understand why really we need this, right? In
Yep.
that case, also, Salesforce team has recommended to use this. Without this, we may get a connectivity errors between our LLM and MCP server.
Yep.
Okay.
So it would be like the default setting whenever we are configuring.
It doesn't have any configurations there. We just go there, apply policy, that's it. We will not see
No, no, in
anything there.
general. In general,
Mhm.
whenever we are gonna configure MCP and Flex Gateway, the policy
Mhm.
we have to by default apply.
Yeah, we need to
Okay.
apply. Yes, yes. Yeah. Then, yeah, the actual demo part, right? What I'll do, I'll quickly show you the sequence diagram what I have drawn for this particular appointment booking use case. We'll quickly go through the code, then we'll talk about specification, we'll upload that specification. Then I'll quickly create a Flex Gateway instance. Okay, and then we'll integrate in the ACB. So I
Before that, a quick question, Venkatesh. So Prashant is asking that can't we use the Mule API embedded API gateway?
no
It has to be Flex
no
gateway only.
no we can't. We can't.
Yep.
The case why we have raised is for that only, Prashant. That was the first question we got it. Okay, and there were no proper documentation also available. So the same point we have raised with the product team. Why cannot we use the embedded gateway? So the first thing is the auto discovery ID. Sorry, the auto discovery component, right? In the embedded gateway, we use the auto discovery component, and that is not available here. That's first thing. Second thing, embedded gateway is supported for a HTTPS traffic, HTTP or HTTPS traffic, right? But this is it's a MCP protocol what we are talking about. Okay, that's the reason we cannot go with the embedded. Even we tried, it didn't work. Okay, just out of curiosity. So we have to go with Flex gateway to protect our MCP server. I hope that answers your question. Any follow up on that?
Yep, I think all good.
Sure. So then the same steps I have just listed down here in detail. Okay. So let's go through a sequence diagram very quickly. I hope the diagram is visible.
Yep, Venkatesh is good
Okay.
now.
Yeah, it
Thank you.
is.
Yeah. Thank you. So you could see it's a cloudy here, right? So as I said, I have kind of integrate clouded desktop as well for one of the session. But it can be anything clouded, dev agent, or the MuleSoft Vibe or any LLM. We can use this particular MCP server. So the flow would be like I'll be initiating an appointment booking call, and it will try to gather the details of my appointment booking, the LLM, in this case dev agent. Okay, but the sequence of the flow, it should work from the MCP. When we see the code, right, I have given instructions in my appointment booking tool within the MuleSoft that before you book an appointment, I need to validate that the user is a valid user or not with the OTP validation. Okay, so that's where our OTP validation flow will initiate. The LLM would understand the context and it will initiate the OTP validation flow, where it will request for OTP by feeding in the email ID, and I'll be using an email connector through which I will be sending OTP to a user. And again, internally, I'm using object stores to store that particular OTP for 5 minutes. Okay. Now the user will receive that OTP on an email. He or she will submit that OTP. We'll do a match of that OTP. If it's a valid OTP, we'll send a success response or failure. If it's a failure, again, it will ask for a re-enter or correct OTP. If it's a successful, it will initiate an appointment booking call. It will store those appointment in the object store. We'll get a response back, and then again a tool will be there to get the appointment details. Okay, so I have configured 4 tools here: OTP generation, OTP validation, appointment booking, and retrieval appointment. Okay, and I just created a simple page. Once the data store into object store, and once it's available, we'll try to trigger this particular page, and we'll see if we are any appointments getting triggered. Also, we'll verify that from the dev agent. Okay, so this is the sequence diagram. Now on the MCP code side, just for better readability, I'll show the MCP code in Anypoint Studio. Okay, so as I said, I have 4 tools here: generate OTP, validate OTP, get appointment, create appointment, and one I have used for getting the report or the details of the appointment, which we have seen from a browser. Okay, I'll not get into a logic part because this is a typical logic what we usually write in the MuleSoft. Rather, I'll talk more about the MCP server configuration. Okay, so within MCP server configuration, in the connection we have 2 options: SSC server and streamable HTTP server. So in my previous demonstration, I have most of the time uses SSC server. So here you will see a 2 endpoints: SSC endpoint path and message path. Okay, so the way MCP the difference of way of working between a SSC server and streamable HTTP server is, with this 2 endpoint, one endpoint is responsible to accept a request, and another endpoint is responsible to send a response back to the consumer. Okay, when we use SSC server, but when we use the streamable HTTP server, within the same endpoint, request and response would be handled. Okay, so that's the key difference between these 2 connection mode. And then we'll quickly have a look at one of the MCP server tool listener. So if you see the MCP server tool listener, we'll be having the connector configuration which we have seen, then the name of that particular tool listener, and then the description. Instead of get, right, I'll try to show you the appointment one where I have given the detailed instructions. Okay, so again, the name of my tool, then the description what I have given is this tool will help to book an appointment, but before directly booking the appointment, customer should authenticate themselves through OTP service. So this kind of work as a context to our LLM. So whenever I initiate the appointment booking prompt, it will try to understand the context of this particular tool, and then it will realize that before I directly book an appointment, I should be calling the generate OTP tool. Okay, and then we'll be having a parameter schema where we will be defining what all attributes are required for this particular tool listener. Now you may ask a question, right? We are defining a schema here already, and again we are defining a schema here. What is the need of that? Okay, like we have a raml, within a raml we define everything, and then through API get router validation happen, but this will not work that way. Okay, so this is for purely documentation purpose what we are defining. So if someone is trying to discover our MCP servers through exchange, they could get an understanding of what we have within our MCP server. Okay, but the actual parameterization, validation, and the information given to the LLM through this parameter schema only. Okay, and how we want to give the response back to the MCP server, that we will define here. So I'm just retaining the raw response back. Any question on this before we move ahead?
No questions, Venkatesh, till now. I think we can proceed.
Sure. Now we have seen the code, right? Let's quickly look at the MCP specification. I know I have already shown this, but let's quickly see. So we'll define what transport we are going to use, then the name and the URL. Then there are capabilities. Okay, so I was talking about writing a blogs around the same part, right? I'll quickly show you. I have added all the details in that particular blog so that you can refer it instead of we go through each and every component. Okay, so this is the blog where I have explained the details about the specification. Okay, now within that we'll be having a capabilities, right? So within capabilities we have sorry within capabilities we have tool resources prompt logging. So as of now I'm supporting tools here rather resources and prompt. Okay, and then we'll be having a separate section as a tool where I'll be defining what all tools available within this MCP server. Okay, and then what is this input schema for this tool and what is the required details around the tools along with the description. Okay, now read only hint, open world hint, independent hint, it's just for a documentation purpose. Again those details are available here. Okay, so read only is kind of if it's a true, it indicate that tool does not modify its environment. Okay, so there won't be any side effect, it's a true. Okay, similarly, idempotent hint, right? If we just hit the same request again and again, so there wouldn't be any issue, right? But in our case, we are creating a OTP. So if we hit the same tool again and again, it will always generate a new OTP. Okay, that's why I have kept it as a false. Okay, so all those details available here. You feel free to go through this, and if you have any question, you can reach out to me and Vikas. Okay, so as I was showing, the critical components are transport, protocol, capabilities, tools. Within tools, we have a name, description, annotations, input schema. Any questions, anyone?
Venkatesh just shared that Medium blog link also. Okay, maybe after the session.
Yeah,
This
sure, sure,
chat.
definitely. Yes, yes. At the end of the session, right? I'll share that. Okay. So now we have seen the specification. Now let's see how we are going to upload this. Okay. So I just before this call I created a fresh account, Anypoint platform as well as Salesforce Playground for agent flows. Okay. Uh, let's see if it's loading or I have to log in again. Okay, so now the two options I was saying earlier, right? I believe most of you already observed this when we are working with the Anypoint platform. Earlier we used to have API only, but now we have APIs and we have agent and tools. Okay, so you can see that we have Exchange API Manager here as well as here. Okay, so basically whenever we are creating any asset specific to MCP A2A, right, we should be going through this particular menu. Okay, now let's go to the exchange. I'm going to add this specification. Let me copy this path, click on publish asset. I'll just say booking API v1, which is here in the asset type. You could see it's a MCP. Okay, so there are two way we could get the specification, one from URL, other from upload MCP file. I tried this URL part multiple times. For me, it's not working. So I still need to explore what mistake I'm making here. So for today's session, I'll show you how we can upload the specification through a file. Okay. So just go to the schema and upload it. And the platform we are using our MCP is in the MuleSoft stable version. Click on publish. Okay, it will take few seconds. Once it's uploaded, whatever information we have given within the schema, same we could see in the exchange documentation. So let it upload. It will take couple of seconds. Yeah, it's uploaded. Okay, now if you see in the details, okay, so it gives the protocol version. Okay, then the transport capabilities are available within this particular MCP server. Then when you click on tools, it will give a details around a tool, okay, along with the required inputs to consume the specific tools and the the attribute what we have discussed, read only, idempotent, right? Everything would be visible here. And when we click on instances, as of now, you won't see any instance attached to this particular MCP asset. Okay. So once we created a Flex gateway and attached that API manager instance to this asset, that time we could see a active instance under non-managed instances. Okay. Any questions on this? I believe someone asked on the asset type, right? This is clear now.
Yep.
Okay, good. If no question, let's go to the fifth steps. I should have created an EC2 instance upfront, but let's create it. Won't take more than 1 minute. I already have one, but let's create a new one. I'm using my own AWS account to create this EC2 instances. Flex Gateway. Let me just say Flex Gateway MCP. Wait. Okay. I'm going to use Amazon Linux here. Okay. I will be needing a new key pair. Key 2, let's say for time being. And then I'm going to allow the traffic. Then that's it. Large instance. So it won't take much time. Within 10 to 15 seconds, the instance would be available. I just wanted to show you guys how we can set up a Flex gateway in few minutes. Okay, that's why I have not, though I have already configured one Flex gateway, I'm still showing you how we can do it quickly. Okay, let's see if this instance is running. Okay, let me connect to this instance, and parallelly I'll go to runtime manager. And then Flex gateway. So this is where we can see two types, right? Managed Flex gateway and self-managed. For this one, we need to get a licensing and subscription from the MuleSoft. This one we can bring our own instance here. Okay, I'll just go with self-managed. I have Linux machine and Amazon Linux 2023. Okay, let me see if I'm able to connect to that instance. Yeah, I'm in. So what I'll do, I'll just simply copy paste all the commands. So if you don't know what this is about, you can always refer my blog or any MuleSoft documentation that will quickly give you idea. But on high level, we are going to install a Flex gateway. Okay, and then we are going to authenticate or synchronize our Flex gateway with our particular organization. So here we are passing org ID and token. Okay, and then we are just starting a Flex gateway. That's 3 steps we are going to do here. So the first one, I'll just simply copy and paste it here. Okay, it will take 20 seconds to get this installed. And in the second one, we may have to do a small change quickly. So the first change, the gateway name I have to give. Let's say Flex Gateway MCP v2. Okay, and there is one more thing here, as it's spanning across 2 lines, right? So I'll just add a slash. Okay, earlier it was not an issue, but recently I guess the slash was missing here. I'll just quickly copy this, go to instance. So we can see the Flex gateway has been installed. Let's try to synchronize this with our organization. Registration is completed. Okay, now I'm going to run my Flex gateway. Now let's see if it's up and running. Okay, so give it a few seconds. Okay, so we can see Flex gateway is running now. Okay, so this is how we have completed the step number 5. Any questions so far, guys?
No, Venkatesh, I think all good.
Okay, now Let's move on to the next step where we are going to create a API manager instance where we are going to synchronize our runtime manager. Uh, I'll quickly bring up the diagram. Okay, so we have this, we have this. Okay, now we are going to synchronize these two things by creating a API manager instance. Okay, so I'm just going to create a add here. Also, again, you have to go to agent and tool instances. From here, go and click on MCP server. Okay, select your Flex gateway. Next, we'll see the asset what we have just published to the exchange. Click on next. Now here I want to listen on 80 port HTTP. Let's go to next, and here I'll be giving my application URL, downstream application URL. In this case, it would be my MuleSoft MCP server. So I'll be copying this. Okay, that's it. Go to next and then save and deploy. Okay, so now it's been deployed. Okay, now let's quickly go and see the exchange where the instance is getting updated or not. So as you can see, right? Sorry, earlier I said it should come under non-managed, but it's coming under managed. So it's reflecting now here as soon as we have created a API manager instance on that particular Flex gateway. Okay, so we have covered this particular part. Now we'll create the sixth one is also done. Now apply the MCP support policy. Let's quickly go here to the API, go to policy, apply MCP support. MCP support policy. Next. And as you can see, there is nothing to fill in. Okay, we just have to go and apply. So Neetu, this answers the questions, right? What you were asking. Okay, so
Yeah,
every time,
thanks.
and
Yeah.
there is no configurations available.
Okay.
Okay. Now we applied the MCP support policy. Now the main part is integrating those MCP server with our dev agent or MuleSoft pipes. Okay, so I'll quickly go to my code builder. Here you can see, right, my vibes are not yet loaded. Okay, so what I have to do first, I need to synchronize my Salesforce and ePoint platform. But before doing that, what I'll quickly do, I'll show you. I'll try to log into my MuleSoft and it will say retry. Okay, it will say vibe is not available. I'll quickly show you that. I'll try to log in here with the Anypoint platform. Okay, so I'm logged into my Anypoint platform, but still I cannot see a MuleSoft vibe. Okay, to enable this, we need to synchronize our Salesforce org with the MuleSoft. Okay, that's the first step. What we are going to see here, this one. Once this is synchronized, we need to enable the dev agent on Salesforce for our Anypoint platform. Then we can see that option. So let me quickly go through my Salesforce. So I have used this playground, this particular model through which I created a playground. Okay, so this is already available. Okay, let me just launch again. Okay, it was here, but yeah. So I'll go to settings, setup. First thing in the setup, I need to enable the agent force. Okay, when we go here and we'll search for agent force, you click on the agent force agents, and on the top right corner you will see a toggle button where I'll just enable the agent force. Okay, that's a very first step you have to do, and then search for any point platform, and then we need to synchronize our Salesforce org with any point platform. So click on complete the connection. This is your key. You need to copy Salesforce org tenant key. With the help of Salesforce org tenant key and anypoint platform key, we are going to synchronize our Salesforce and MuleSoft anypoint platform. It's very straightforward steps. Okay, so I'll just click on go anypoint platform, click on US region, go to anypoint platform. Okay, so it will route to access management. Okay, we are under access management. Within that, we have a Salesforce menu. Okay, so first thing, to enable the agent force, you need to accept the policies. Okay, I'll just accept it, read it, accept it, and then click on add Salesforce org. The tenant key which we have copied from previous screen, this one, I'll just putting the tenant key here. Click on add. Okay, we can give the name and then click on add. Once we add it, we'll get a anypoint platform org key. You copy that and then go back to a Salesforce page. You put that org key here. Okay, and then connect. So now our Salesforce and anypoint platform are in sync. As in sync, the accounts has been synchronized. Here you will see one option, enable agent force in anypoint platform. You just enable it. Okay, and let's go back to our vibes and let's say try again. What will happen? See, we are in now. Okay, we can see MuleSoft vibes within anypoint code builder. Okay, and there are other prerequisites also before coming to this particular step. Sorry, I didn't cover considering the time. Okay, so we need to install the extensions, anypoint code builder extensions. Okay, then again there are permissions required on both Salesforce as well as anypoint platform. Okay, once the relevant permissions are available, then we could synchronize this organization and anypoint platform and then enable the MuleSoft vibe in anypoint code builder. Okay, so we have covered step number 9 and 10. Okay, now integrating the MCP server with dev agent, step number 11. Okay, so when the dev agent is enabled, you can see the 0 MCP servers are active. So you simply go here. Okay, and click on configure MCP server. Okay, when you click on configure MCP server file, you will be getting this particular mm, JSON file open. Okay, and what I'll do here, this is my public DNS through which I'll be accessing my MCP server. Okay, so as we are using Flex Gateway, through this AWS instance URL, I'll be accessing my MCP server, and I'll just add a wrong value here. Okay, I'll save it. Okay, this is weird. I don't know why it says no MCP server installed. Let me quickly check on that. Oh, let me just quickly restart this, guys. Sorry for that.
Or you can directly try adding it via adding the remote MCP server by that way, Venkatesh.
Yes, but ideally it should work from
Yeah,
the
it should. It
session.
should. I'm just telling it's alternate. It doesn't pick up directly from here.
Yes, yes. So let's wait a few minutes. I'll quickly see the extensions are all okay. So guys, sorry for this delay. It will take 2 to 3 minutes to activate all the extension and get that. Meanwhile, if you have any question, let's discuss that, guys.
Yeah, guys, you can unmute yourselves and ask the question here.
Hi Vikas and Venkatesh. Thank you for this step-by-step session. It's very helpful for us. As I'm seeing this MCP first time, looks it's straightforward but confusing a little bit. Can we get the recording of this session for me? Go through one
Yes,
more time.
yes. So yeah, the session is being recorded, Sayed. Okay, so the recording will be available on our MuleSoft events page. Okay, within the next 24 hours. I'll be sharing the same via LinkedIn as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, cool. Thanks. Now we can see, right? It's enabled.
Yeah.
So maybe some glitch. Okay, I restarted and I can see those options. So when I click on configure MCP server, when this JSON file will comes in. So this is the default MCP server, what we will get with the MuleSoft vibes, through which we can manage our the any point platform activities like deploying the application, generating a code, and whatnot. Okay, many things we can handle. It provides nearly about 43 tools, if I'm not wrong. Okay, and then
Yep.
this is the MCP server what we have. So I have just pasted the EC2 instance on which we have deployed our Flex Gateway. Let's cross verify that again here. Okay, so this is the link, and when I refresh this, I can see it has listed out 4 tools: book appointment, generate OTP, get appointment, and validate OTP. Okay, so if you remember, we talked about the host and client stuff, right, in one of the slide specific to this one. Okay, so my any within any point code builder, the dev agent or MuleSoft 5 is my host. Within that host, I'm creating a multiple MCP client, a configuration. Okay, so this is the configuration where we are defining the URL. Okay, so I have given a wrong credentials here. As of now, it's not protected. Okay, that's why it's working. But when we apply policy, we'll see how it behaves. Okay, so uh, now you can connect to this particular MCP server when I do a refresh. Okay, now what I'll do, I'll quickly apply the basic auth, and then again we'll try to connect, and we'll see a 401 error, and we'll correct the URL, and then we'll initiate the prompts. Okay, so go to API manager. I'll apply the basic auth policy. Okay, and I'm going to give the username and password as a text test. Okay, and apply. And this is nothing but the base encoded string for that text colon test. Okay, so let's give it few seconds, and then what I'll do, I'll try to refresh this one. I should be getting 401 error now because this is wrong. As you can see, right, earlier I was able to connect with the wrong value as well here. Okay, so my MCP server was not protected. Okay, now it's protected with the basic auth. I'll just save the correct value and I'll do a refresh here. So now you can see it's connecting. Okay, and we can see the same tools. Okay, so with this, we have secured our MCP server. Now let's initiate some commands here. Please help me with meter installation appointment booking. Okay, let's see what it says. It should identify my MCP server, and within that, it should identify a specific tool, the way we have seen in the sequence diagram. Okay, and the flow should continue same way. So it's still working on it. Somehow it's not identifying this one. Let me create a new chat.
Hey Venkatesh,
Okay. Yeah, because
you're there, right?
yeah. No, no, I'm here. Okay, so I have entered. I need a help to book an appointment. So this time it's picked up correctly. So it's asking few details. Okay, it's not directly jumping onto the appointment booking as we seen in the sequence diagram and in the description of a tools. Right, it's asking all these details. I'm just going to provide everything, and we'll see whether it directly book the appointment or it will follow the flow the way we wanted it. Okay, so my email ID is okay. Then the date I want this to be book for meter installation tomorrow at 10 a.m. Customer ID that's 72345. So ideally it should go and initiate a OTP flow. Okay. As you can see, based on the context what I have given in my MCP tool listener, it identify the LLM identify which tools to call first. Okay. I'll just approve this. We can do a auto approve also for each tool. So each time it won't ask us to approve each and every task. We could auto approve it. But just for demonstration sake, I'll just have a manual approval. So when I say approve, I should be receiving an email with the OTP. Okay. So it's a successful call. Let's see if I have received an email. So this is 0 minute ago, 8:59. So this is the OTP I have received. I'll go to dev agent, and it is asking for me share an OTP. Okay. Once I have shared the OTP, it should validate my identity and allow me to create an appointment booking. So most of the details I have already provided it. So it will, okay, it's asking for approval. Okay, let's send this. And as you can see, right, it's calling the validate OTP tool now. I have approved it. Now it says the OTP validated true. Okay, I got a response, and your identity has been successfully verified. Now I'll proceed for a booking your meter installation appointment. Okay, so all those details I have given at the very beginning, it just captured those details from those particular context and sharing into a booking appointment tool. I'll just click on approve, and it should create a booking within my object store in few seconds. And then we'll try to get that appointment booking details with the get appointment call. Okay, I need to correct data format. Let me book an appointment. Okay, there is something wrong. It has not added time zone, it seems. So it's asking me to retry again. Okay, so the appointment has been booked. Okay, and this is the booking ID. We'll just quickly copy this, and then uh, we'll see from the browser as well if it has been created. Now within the get appointment tools also, we can quickly verify what were the details available. So as you can see, it's following the same flow what we wanted as per the sequence diagram, right? So it can say this is appointment for beta information tomorrow at 10 a.m. This is the email verified via OTP customer ID. Okay. Now I have created one URL to quickly check if we are getting this appointment, let me refresh this. So as you can see, we have this appointment. So it has been successfully inserted into object store and it's been verified as well. Okay. So this is how we have uh, we have created a MCP server. We created a specification, added to a exchange, then created a Flex gateway, protected MCP server via Flex gateway, then integrated with the dev agent or MuleSoft vibe and interacted with our MCP server. Okay, so that's what I wanted to showcase as part of today's session. Any
Yep.
question now?
Thanks, Venkatesh. I think Prashant has a question. So,
Mhm.
how does the Mule Vibes identify which tools to call?
It's behind the scenes uses the LLM, right? So for mule
Yep.
vibe perspective, it's Einstein, okay, and it's a AI agent, right? Based on the context, it will based on the prompt, it will identify a context, and based on the context, it will identify a tool or available MCP server, and then available tool within that server. Okay.
And the context we have provided in the our description, right?
Yes.
Prashant, any questions? Any further questions?
So one quick question. So behind the scene, as you mentioned, that it's using LLM model, right, which is
Mm-hmm.
Einstein AI. So do we have to configure anything before, like if we are gonna start from scratch? Do we need to set up something there as well before we can start building these?
No, no. You have seen, right, as we were synchronizing this Anypoint platform and Salesforce, right? We have
That
just enabled the dev agent. We just enabled the agent force. That's
perfect.
it. As soon
Okay.
as we enable the agent force, behind the scene it uses Einstein AI only.
All right. Yeah. Thank you.
So, Neetu, you can follow the tutorial which I just pinged you, right? It
Yes. Yes.
has
Yeah, I got
mentioned
the
the
link.
details, all the details how to
Mhm.
enable use of vibes. And now Venkatesh would share his Medium blog links as well.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Fine. Any
Meanwhile,
more
others
question,
are
guys?
asking the question. I'll ping the blogs.
This is fantastic, fantastic session. So thank you both for, setting this up. And I've been meaning to, learn more about it. And I think you guys compress so much knowledge in single session. So really appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
Nidhi,
you,
for your
Nitin.
feedback. Fine. Any more question, guys, before we wrap up?
After the call, also, if you guys have any question, do let us know. You can reach out to me or Vikas over LinkedIn.
Yep. Yep. Fine. All good then. I think we're good to wrap up this session. So, Venkatesh, thank you. Thank you so much for taking out time to explain in detail about MCP, how to build it, how to secure it, right? How to integrate with MuleSoft pipes. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Vikas.
And thank you everyone for joining this session. And we'll see you. We'll see you again soon. Thank you. Thank you very much, guys. Have a good night. Bye bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah,
Have a
thank
nice
you.
evening.
Bye.
Bye.